and give me just a minute, and because I need music for myself. I, I, I can't hear anything. Hang on, give me a second. There we go. All right. Ooh, that's kind of cool, but I don't like that. Never mind. We're just gonna put that on right here. We're gonna turn it off so no one else hears anything. So, hello, and welcome back to Retrieving Sanity, and this is Aftertakes. So, I just got done speaking with Sebastian Uzcategui, Uz- Uzcategui? Yeah, Uzcategui. And he is a young entrepreneur that is highly successful and really, like, smart. And, like, of course, he's going to be successful in that way. Whoa! Google's right! Oh, cow, that's cool. So, you may hear the AC on right now, but there's the thing. I had the AC turned on during the whole recording, and it just now actually like kicked on to cool down the house, and like it is really cool. So on that end, I was sitting here going like, how? I'm never mind. Or this is about Sebastian. It was Sebastian and Clay. So real quick, Sebastian, really awesome dude, super profound, philosophical kind of outlook on life, and him and I line up on a lot of ideals, if you will, and like a part of me is like, man, I wish I were successful like that as his age, and but at the same time, I wasn't ready for it. Like if I was, I would be dead. I would be dead, and just a lot of other people's lives would have been either ruined, made worse, or just not great. So, not because I died, but because of what I did, and then because I died, right? So it's one of those things that I'm not really like. I've learned my place in a sense, and it's not like, oh, learn your place, get down there, blah blah. Not like that. It's no, I've learned where I'm at is totally okay. Like that's the weird part, right? Like I've learned that where I'm at in this moment for me is enough. And that's all I've really been needing, you know? Like and it took me a long time to get there. It took a lot to get even kind of close to where I'm at, and I'm still not even there. To say I'm there is to say that the journey is over, I'm done, and essentially I can sign out. I'm done. And I'm not doing that, right? Instead, it's quite the opposite. Now everything is definitely on the up and up, and things are going all sorts of crazy, and it's great. But I couldn't do that back in the day because I wasn't ready for it. And that's what Sebastian was talking about by taking care of yourself. If you can take care of yourself, then you can take care of your assets and stuff. And therefore, it spreads to other people. And at one point, he was like, we're almost in the same kind of field, because he was talking about helping people with their personal finances and stuff like that. And I'm in the mental health, and I was like, no, we're both in the same field. We're both in personal development or personal growth, and it's the truth. It really is, because he is coming from a more, actually he's not, he's coming from a very balanced mindset. He's coming from a very philosophical, spiritual outlook, and I say that because if he didn't have that, he wouldn't be able to sit there and see the atrocity that is giving up one's soul for a salary. And it's disgusting. It really is. To sit there and say that I make X amount of money for myself, but I make even more money for these people that they don't even know my name because they're a corporation or whatever, like wow, cool, good job. So like I that's one reason why I've also preferred mom and pop shops, like with a lot of things that I do, because you actually get to know your employer. And like, I'm sorry, but I don't like to work for a fucking robot. Sorry for cursing. I forget. Some people don't mind the cursing. Some people say it turns them off, and some people say it adds more of an authentic feel. And that's the thing, is that whenever you curse, it's not scripted, or it shouldn't be, and it like helps alleviate pain. It helps alleviate anxiety and all these other fucking weird things. And I'm sitting here going like, oh, I gotta watch my damn mouth because I gotta mind what other people are thinking. And I do that because I'm not trying to drive away people from getting a mental health message. So I will curse here and there. I'm just going to say it out loud right now because it is fucking human, and I don't apologize for that. I'll apologize for it if it's excessive, if I have a mental health breakdown on camera and on mic and everything. Yeah, and then I'm going to be like, yeah, that was a little bit too much. I'm sorry. But otherwise, just let me be. And that's what Sebastian is essentially saying, is just let people be people. And why can't they just work for themselves in some regard, to the point to where they can find their own purpose and just use that to make their life awesome? And he's right. Like, we do a really good job at building things, building people, building other people's things, and building people up and everything like that. But we don't really do a whole great job at working on ourselves. And that was kind of what he was getting at, was if we can focus on ourselves, if we can sit there and do better to ourselves, for ourselves, by ourselves, then we'll do better for and by everyone else around us. And then that spreads, so on and so forth. And it's like, dude, yes, holy crap. Um, and he's got a lot of insights, and we didn't get far enough into his glacier that is clarity and resilience, self-awareness, navigating mindsets, stuff like that, especially burnout and rebuilding direction in life and business. So it's interesting, honestly, just because it's like, so I am going to use his age here again, but nowhere near against him. In fact, it's nowhere against anyone. It's a compliment towards him, and it is honestly a compliment towards anyone else that may be in this example. And I'm not going to use names, even though I do know the names that I'm going to use. Ha! I'm getting better at names. So, anyways, I have talked to other people that are burnout coaches, and I have talked to people that are suffering burnout, right? Or have in the past and then are not now. And real quick, with like the burnout coaches, they're usually along, just not along in age, but they are older than him, right? And they usually have to experience the burnout first. And I didn't really ask him if he's experienced burnout, and if so, what kind and how many times. That is something I should have asked. So that's for next time, if I can remember that. I should probably write that down real quick. Hang on. Do 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 do. Question for next time: how many burnouts? Yeah, that works. So long as it's not like, was I talking about drag racing or something? I don't know. What do you want? What? Shut up, watch. I know. I had my watch off charging right next to me the whole time. So you may be able to hear it like vibrate throughout the episode. I don't know. But no. So Clay was freaking awesome. And hang on. Wait. Let me back it up. Let me finish off with Sebastian. Sebastian was freaking awesome. He is great. Definitely check out stocksuni.com. And he also left his phone number in the episode. So once that gets posted, it'll be with the episode description and everything. If you want to talk to him, talk about philosophy, if you want to talk about burnout, or just try to get to know him before you get him as a coach, because I would recommend him. And it's like one of those, but he's young. It's like, after speaking with someone like that, I don't need to necessarily see success. Like, it's definitely one of those things that's like, yeah, that's really, really, really good to have as like background. But hearing him, I could tell that he has a lot with him that he's utilized successfully. And maybe he could just be a really good car salesman. I think he could be, but I think he'd also be a little bit too honest with the person, if I had to say so myself. So it'd be like, yeah, this is a great car, except it's going to break down in about 3,000 miles. Um, so because he actually understands the value of being a person. So that's why I say that. And anyways, let's get to Clay. So Clay Moffat was my guest last night, and so he is I forget where you said he actually was, but essentially around the world, literally, because it was exactly 12 hours ahead of us. So the episode was recorded at 10 o'clock at night, and at first I was like, oh no, like why does my calendly say 10 p.m.? Like, that surely that's 10 a.m., right? Because for a while I was like 10 a.m. All right, cool. And no, it was always 10 p.m. I just messed up. And so whenever the time finally came around, I was like, okay, I haven't heard anything except for a couple days before that. That hey, looking forward to it. And so like that's confirmation. But at the same time, I was like 10, like maybe they meant 10 a.m. and they just accidentally hit 10 p.m. How did they do that? I don't know. But that's kind of the thing. It was like maybe some kind of weird accident. So I was doing my follow ups and stuff. Hadn't heard anything back. Looked up the time difference, and sure enough, I was like, oh, he's probably asleep right now. So I let it be. And then whenever it came back around to where he should be waking up and stuff, I was like, hey, I just want to make sure that I didn't miss it or something, like missed it hours ago because it was at 10 in the morning instead of 10 at night. And I'm making sure it's at 10. Anyways, so we finally actually end up doing the episode, and it was freaking awesome. I'm so glad that I did it. I almost did not. Like, I will be honestly and truthfully saying, like, I sat here and I was like, all right, going through everything, checking everything, emails, all that, blah, 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 blah. Popped back over here to the studio, and I was like, all right, I don't see him. And as I moved my mouse over and hit back, my screen changed, which let me know that someone is getting into the waiting room. And I was like, oh, so he would have seen that host is in the studio or something and then see that disappear. And so that happened, and I just was like down here, like, ah. I was like, I want to do this, but a part of me did not want to do that. And I think I know why a part of me didn't want to do that interview last night, because I was going to have to face some hard truths. So whenever I say that, it's because he was talking about trust, and uh, boy, I wish I had live streamed that one. Like, that one was phenomenal. I wish I had live streamed the last two, but because I didn't live stream the one from last night, I forgot to change the settings up here today. So I was sitting here getting ready for Sebastian. He pops in. It's about time. He looked like he was in a hurry, and we almost didn't record because he didn't have headphones, which was kind of a problem, but he got his AirPods. So that was really, really cool. Thank you, Sebastian, for that. So we could record, but I didn't want to hold him up or anything. So I was like, okay, we're just going to run with it. Sorry. But sorry, as I was saying, whenever Clay started talking, and we were talking about trust and everything, a lot of, like, part of me, it's funny because as I was sitting down here, as I was standing down there, I was like, oh, I really don't want to do this all of a sudden. Why don't I want to? And I was like, well, he's talking to me about trust. And I was like, I reached out. I could say I didn't see it, and I was like, why am I taking this weird little wimpy route out? And it is because we were talking about trust, and I feel like I have a great understanding of trust, right? I feel like I trust really well or don't trust really well, and that's not the truth. Right? And so I didn't want to do it, and I almost backed out. I almost really did, but I didn't, and it was phenomenal because I heard a lot of hard truths. I heard a lot of good truths. I heard a lot of things that really flipped my world around in the sense that everything up here is now way different. And I'm not sure how to feel about that yet because, uh, like, hearing him talk, like, I think what it was that I was hearing myself talk the whole time. And I was like, yep, yeah, you know? And so, like, I woke up today and he was even like, your brain's gonna have a heyday because you just had this conversation before going to bed. Like, that's crazy. And I was like, yeah, I didn't think about that. Maybe I should have all my podcast episodes at 10 o'clock at night. No. But like today, I felt a lot lighter in some senses, and it's because I'm learning to trust myself again. And you would think that would have been trusting myself for the last 3.5 years at least, because I'm 3.5 years sober. No, I mean yes and no, but it's one of those things like, how do I trust parts of myself that I never knew how to trust in the first place? What about the parts that I can't control? Things like that. And it's like, oh, well, now I have all this experience to pull from to answer all these questions for myself about myself and so on and so forth. And the things that I can't actually make logical sense of, something that I can't really grapple and transmute into something beneficial for me or whatever. I now have a plethora of tools and resources to reach out for help any moment. Like I think I have almost all my bases covered in a lot of weird areas in life. Like I could sit there and be like, "Hey, I'm dealing with this particularly weird area in life and I need help." And I can reach out to someone and they're going to be like, "I got you, dude." And I'm going to be like, "Whoa." Like I'm glad that I found your niche or whatever. Like, what? Or like, y'all found me and we found each other. Like, it's cool. But part of me is like, the biggest part of me is the same part of me that was afraid of the conversation with Clay in the first place. And it was, and he nailed it too. He nailed it. He absolutely 100% nailed exactly what I was thinking. And it was the sheer fact that I was afraid for a lot of me, like the older parts of me and stuff, becoming obsolete. The parts of me that were protecting myself, the parts of me that were doing this, that, or another, that they were going to become obsolete, that they were going to be unnecessary, unworthy, this, that, or another. And whenever you said that, I was like, yeah, like I know, like, yeah, they're the parts of me that are hurt or were hurt and everything. They don't want to feel left out. They don't want to feel like I moved on. You know, they don't want to be forgotten about, things like that. And so, and I've talked about something similar before of taking trinkets from past memories and stuff like that instead of bringing around the whole luggage and stuff like that. Instead, going back, leaving the luggage, but finding a piece of jewelry or something to bring with. And I'm kind of like, fuck, I have to do that with all of that me, like me, not external situations, not those little things like that. But that's the thing too, is that I can't necessarily turn parts of me into like jewelry and wear it around and whatnot like I can with baggage and luggage that is from past situations or whatever, you know? So it's kind of like, well, how do I go about doing it any different? And it's kind of like what Sebastian was talking about. It's through living intentionally, through and I already lost my own question. Um, but and he was also talking really good. Uh, not really good. He was also hitting something on the whole. Sometimes people don't know what they want to talk about because they don't know the words in their head. And I was like, oh, hey, yeah, like, why is it that all these people that I'm talking to seem to be able to just read my freaking mind, man? And sometimes I'm just like they have the answer for me. Like I'm interviewing the people that have the answers that I'm trying to help other people get. And so I have that episode of who was I talking to? Um oh man, I told you I'm bad with names. But we were sitting there talking and I started asking questions and I didn't realize that they were like for me as much as they were for the audience. And it's really really weird, you know, like I don't know actually. I'm just going to shut up because my clarity was really 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 good until I got to podcasting right now. And not so much so in the sense that my clarity is all jumbled up. It's the sheer fact that, like, see my shoulders right here? Just like, oh, I'm tired. Like, I am legit tired. Like, oh, part of me doesn't know what to say a lot of the time, right? And part of me has to, quote unquote, perform. But part of me just has to show up and just be here. And you know, so it's funny because I've built the persona that I've grown into fully, and it like that's where it's like I don't feel like this, but I am this. And that's a weird thing because I am and I feel and oh, whenever I can feel it, it goes into my shoulders and my back and stuff, and it feels good. It feels really really good. And like I was talking to Clay about that, I was like, I'm sorry about the stand-up desk because my camera was a little bit more like here, you know, because I actually got it on the tripod. So there's a tripod on my desk right now, and I don't really care because it works. I got a stand-up desk. I've got everything going, and everything's falling together. And so, like I told him, I was like, I'm sorry that I'm going to be looking like right here, but I swear I'm looking at you. But looking at you is here, but you're here, so I'm going to look at you. Because if I talk to here, this is the audience. That is my guest. I want to speak to my guest. I want to see my guest's facial reactions. I want to do all that, right? I don't want to. Hi, guest. Yeah, that sounds really interesting. Yeah, no, I don't need a webcam to sit there and tell me everything. I need to speak my problems into the webcam. And that's another thing too, is that a lot of me feels like I've had to mask, right? A lot of me has felt like I've had a mask for the show, and a part of me did. A part of me did, and I'll explain why after the sip. Sorry. I don't know what that is. I don't. You can't see it up there. Anyways, what was I saying? Oh shit. Oh no. Oh. Oh. Uh. Shit. I forget. Oh. Growing into my podcaster self. I guess was that what I was talking about? And how like I'm just and I was telling Clay everything. Yeah. Okay. So, anyways, I was telling Clay, like sorry for this whole setup, but like I could fix it, you know, like hey, I can make everything just right there and just fix it whatever, I could just move the camera, move the monitors and stuff. And he was saying like, nah, it's fine, and I actually spoke with someone that did do a stand-up podcast, and it was Jack Kammer. So Jack, thank you for giving me the confidence to do my stand-up desk while I podcast, because I absolutely love it. Um, but whenever I was talking to Clay and all that, I told him like I have like I'm starting to get confidence. Like I'm starting to get confidence. I have like almost none. So whenever I'm standing up and stuff, and if I'm focusing on my posture, if I'm and not focusing like, oh, it's gotta like stand this way, like you'll see me like as I'm standing here, my posture like slouches and all this stuff. But the thing is that I'm being mindful of it, and it's like, oh, my shoulders are a little bit lax. All right, so I'm going to like pull them back up, straighten my back a little bit more, readjust my hips if I have to. Oh, my legs hurt a little bit, going to spread them out a little bit. I'm going to be moving. I'm not going to be stock still, because I'm not sitting there trying to be perfect. Oh, and then the Clay also mentioned something great about perfection that might screw up some of y'all, but we're not going to talk about that right now. So, um, ah, man. So working on my posture, just being mindful of whenever it falls out of place too much, and trying to maintain a decent posture for longer periods of time without exerting myself beyond a certain point, especially in my mental space. And working on my breath work, taking that extra breath out, trying to work on breathing in my nose all the time, but it's really hard whenever you have a good microphone and it just hears you breathe in. This sucks. Um, yeah, having a big nose is great. I don't get me wrong, I love it. I smell great. I do smell great, but I smell great too with my nose. So, uh, not, I don't know. Like that's the thing is that, oh, that's what I was talking about. Why I had to mask myself during part of the podcast. I knew it was going to come back around. Don't pick up the water bottle that made me forget it, even though I want to take another drink. So, I had to mask myself for the podcast for a couple of reasons. So, one, I had no idea what I was doing. I had no idea. I had to put on some kind of persona, right? The second one was I was living in Oxford House. I was actually living in not this in particular one, but like Oxford House. Like Oxford House Incorporated. Um, on paper, fantastic. On in practice, eh, it's got some work to do. But I say that because each house is entirely different, and I fell into one house that was sick in the sense that no one was ever going to successfully really move out of there, except for a few people, and those were the rare exceptions. And then the other house where, no, yeah, kind of the same thing there too. It's just they looked different more on the outside, but on the inside they were the same house. And I was going through some stuff, right? And no one bothered to actually do anything. And people just decided to speculate and start rumors and so on and so forth. Anyways, it got out of hand to the point where I just had to kind of play along for a long while, and at the same time I was falling in a really really bad hole, but I was so scared of what would actually happen because I asked for help that I didn't ask for help because I knew the consequences of asking for help or even admitting to something that was as simple as taking too many Benadryl, right? So, here's the thing. Whenever I had to mask myself for doing that, I started masking all different parts of myself. And it happened that way because if that part of me wasn't good enough for myself, then other parts of me aren't good enough for myself, and especially not good enough for other people. So it really did take a lot of, just having to sit there and get rid of that shame, that guilt kind of stuff, and So maybe that's what trips me up, is just shame and guilt sometimes. Or maybe it's anxiety, or maybe it's depression. It can be a litany of things. But the problem is, if I don't actually get whatever is on my chest off, it's going to compound, it's going to explode in such viscera of gore that no one wants to be around for it. So I have to figure out ways to get that out. I need to find ways to express myself. I need to do that kind of thing. And this weekend, I actually had an ugly cry. I haven't had an ugly cry in forever. And you may be like, Keegan, why would you have an ugly cry? Why would that be a good thing? I'm sorry, have you had one lately? I didn't think so, because if you have, well, good job, and I hope you are feeling better, but if you haven't, make yourself have one, because, dude, holy crap, it feels so good. Man, and I didn't trust myself to actually cry by myself, alone, in an apartment, by myself. I didn't trust myself to cry like that for the longest time. And I finally got to the point where I can. Holy shit. It felt so good. And like, part of me wants to cry right now too. And it's coming out of the right eye. Remember, first tear from the right eye is happy, left is sad. It's not necessarily 100% true, but it rings bells and true for me. So if it does for you, cool little psychological fact. Anyways, now there's that, and I mean, there's just so much that goes on in life that I was trying to filter what made it on the podcast. And while, yes, I do definitely need to do that from time to time, especially with certain things and issues and whatnot, and things to definitely avoid, because otherwise we might find ourselves on the wrong side of a plane ticket or something of the sorts. If you're wondering why I keep dropping down to the ground, it's because I keep playing with this. And also, I just realized this aftertake is 32 minutes long, but it is because I am doing 2 different aftertakes, and Clay's whole, like, both of them together just poof. I'm going to feel so good whenever I wake up, and that's going to be good for everyone out there, because I am refreshed. And by that, I mean I'm going to start making so much more better content. And but my problem is, it's like, I need help. I don't know. So maybe I don't have help in all the areas of those weird areas that I was talking about earlier, because that is the one thing that I don't have, is like a post-production team, social media manager, or anything like that, because I don't need them. But I need someone to at least guide me and say like, hey, that post was kind of stupid, don't do that, or maybe you should do this instead of this, or so on and so forth. Like, I just need guidance in those areas. Otherwise, I can do all the legwork myself. I just am like, hey, I need ideas, and that's what Gemini is great for. I'm sitting there going like, hey, help me do a solo podcasting report. Like, and here's 37 pages of information. Like, it is a real job. So anyways, with that, we're going to end it here. I'm going to get dinner ready and everything like that. So if you need to get dinner ready, go get dinner ready. If you don't need to get dinner ready, well, hopefully you're eating. If you're eating this and watching this, hi, don't choke. If you can do the Heimlich maneuver on yourself, and it's not called a I don't know what I was about to say, but it wasn't going to be good. So anyways, we're going to just end it here. Check out Clay at Sebastian's website. Check out Sebastian at stocksuni.com, and check out Clay at his book, thetrusttrapbook.com. I was burping and trying to finish that sentence at the same time. So anyways, we're going to go ahead and end it here. Love you much. Have a good night. Stop.